Sophocles wrote the last play in the Theban trilogy, Antigone, around 442 BC. The Theban trilogy consists of Oedipus Rex, Oedipus at Colonus, and Antigone, but the play considered the last of the three was written first. Antigone tells the story of the title character, daughter of Oedipus, the former king of Thebes, who unknowingly killed his father and married his mother, and who renounced his kingdom upon discovering his actions. This play narrates her fight to bury her brother Polynices against the edict of her uncle, Creon, the new king of Thebes. It is a story that pits the law of the gods, the unwritten law against the laws of humankind, family ties against civic duty, and man against woman. Let's see the summary. The play opens shortly before dawn outside of the palace at Thebes, where Antigone meets her sister Ismene. Together they grieve over the losses their family has suffered. First, their father Oedipus had his own father, ascended the throne, and married his mother. When Oedipus discovered this, he put out his eyes and wandered as an exile from Thebes until his death. Then their brothers Polynices and Eteocles had killed each other in a battle between Thebes and the city of Argos. Now, because Polynices fought against Thebes, Creon, the new king of Thebes, has ordered that his corpse remain unburied, thus condemning his spirit to roam the earth for 100 years. Grieved, Antigone calls on Ismene to join her in carrying out their duty to their brother in spite of the edict. Antigone appeals to his sister's familial duty. Ismene, on the other hand, argues that as women they should not question the decisions of men, especially an edict from the king. Each fails to persuade the other, and the sisters exit as the chorus of elders approaches. Because Thebes has stood victorious in the battle against Argos, the chorus calls for a celebration. Then, as they begin to wonder why they have been summoned to the palace, Creon, newly crowned as king over the city-state, comes from the palace. He asks the elders to show him the same loyalty they had previously awarded Oedipus. He restates his edict that Polynices shall not be buried, promising that no foe of the city shall be his friend. The chorus seems uncertain about administering Creon's edict and asks the younger men perform the task. One of the young men guarding the body of Polynices comes forward. The sentry guard tells Creon that someone has sprinkled dust on the body of Polynices, an attempt at burial that violates Creon's decree. An elder suggests that the act is the work of a god. Creon disagrees and warns the old man against such foolish proclamations. It is base, he argues, to defy the state, not the glorious act of a god. The king suspects that money has provoked someone to attempt Polynices' burial. Creon tells the sentry that he will be held responsible for the crime until the god finds the actual perpetrator. He sends the sentry back to his post, commanding that he find the lawbreaker. The chorus praises the wonder that is man and the cunning by which he can capture all of nature, or conversely escape nature's snares, all that is except death. Then the god returns bringing Antigone as his captive. Notes that just after they had removed the dust from Polynices, Antigone was caught trying to bury her brother a second time. When questioned by Creon, Antigone admits to both attempts at burial. Creon condemns her. Antigone asserts that she has done a noble deed by honoring her and following the unwritten law. Creon suspects that due to her odd behavior earlier, Ismene may be an accomplice in her sister's crimes. When she comes forth, the chorus of elders recognizes that Ismene is innocent. Her tears are not of guilt but sorrow for her sister. Yet Creon demands her confession and she gives it. Upon hearing this, Antigone states that she acted alone, absolving his sister of guilt. Ismene pleads for Antigone's life, reminding the king that not only is his prisoner family, she is also betrothed to his son, Haman. Despite this, Creon will not reverse his judgment. As Antigone and Ismene are led away, Haman appears. He appeals to his father's ego, asking that he let Antigone go free to show the people that he is a kind and forgiving ruler. Though Creon briefly considers his son's advice, when Haman notes that citizens are concerned for Antigone's welfare, the king sees that the argument is only made to free Antigone. He rejects his son's proposal, stating that he will not have his laws questioned by a woman, nor will he accede to the desires of his son. He vows to execute Antigone in Haman's presence, but his son leaves, vowing that his father will never see him again. Creon decides to bury Antigone alive with enough water and food so that the city itself is not held to blame for her death. Antigone is led to where she will be sealed inside a tomb. The chorus of elders mourn for her, speaking of comparisons to Persephone, who also died young and without a husband. The chorus also seems to mock Antigone, however. After Antigone has been led away, Tiresias, a blind seer, is brought before Creon. The prophet warns Creon that he is responsible for a sickness that has descended on Thebes. Polynices' unburied body has polluted the city, and the gods will hear no more prayers. The body is also polluting the cities close to Thebes, causing ill will toward Creon's city-state. Creon accuses the old man of trickery, stating that some enemy must have paid the seer to come and upset him. Tiresias accuses Creon of tyranny and selfishness, warning the king that he will lose his son and great grief will befall his house. After Tiresias exits, Creon becomes fearful. He decides to heed the advice of the elders, allow Polynices to be buried, and set Antigone free. When he exits, the elders pray to Bacchus for the safekeeping of the city. A messenger enters and reports that Haman has taken his own life. Eurydice, Creon's wife, comes from the palace to receive this information. She learns how Creon and his men first gave Polynices an honorable burial, and how, when they came to Antigone's crypt, they found she had hanged herself. Haman, in grief, tried to stab his father, and failing this, impaled himself. Eurydice bears his news in silence, returning to the palace. Creon returns to the palace, bearing the body of his son. He is grief-stricken over the results of his own stubbornness. He then learns that Eurydice has also taken her own life. Creon begins to rave, calling himself a rash, foolish man